Hey guys, so as usual, this is everything that I read in this past week and everything that I hope to pick up in the upcoming week. I'm hoping to go through this one a little bit more quickly than I have been recently. I tend to let these videos run a little bit long in my opinion, but I did finish 4 more things this past week, so I'll go ahead and write it up there. That's a total of 16 for the year, so I guess it's going to be 16 for the month, unless I do finish one tomorrow, which I might, but I'll get to that more in a second. I have finished 16 books so far in January. The 4 that I finished this past week, the first one is Book Burners by Max Gladstone, Margaret Dunlap, Brian Francis Slattery, and Mur Lafferty. So I talked about this a couple times, a couple weeks in a row now, because it took me a little while to get through this. It's quite a thick book, and it's told in episodes. It's basically about evil books, evil, magical, ancient books, and the people who are possessed by them, and the Vatican-run team of those in charge of tracking those books and possessed people down and doing something about them. So like I said, it's told in episodes. Each episode is written by one of these different writers. This was originally published on serialbox.com. If you haven't heard me talk about this at more length in the past recent weeks, that's fine. I'm going to be posting a review of this. I actually just finished working on the review for this one, and I really hope to post it in the next couple days. So I definitely want to share more about this one with you. I think it was a really fun story, and I did quite enjoy it a lot. It took me about maybe like halfway through, maybe a little bit less than halfway through, to really get into it. Each episode, it was really episodic, like with things that are told in episodes. Obviously that's the case, but it felt like for a little bit it was just kind of these one-off stories until you really start to learn more about the characters. So at a certain point you really start to learn more about the characters and know more about them, and to see their relationships grow and the situations that they're in grow more dangerous and become more a part of the overall plot of the whole thing, rather than just the individual little plots of the episodes. So each episode has its own individual little plot, but they all sort of contribute in some way to the bigger plot. But you really don't see that come in more fully until you get more and more through the book. But I did really enjoy it, and the characters, especially towards the end, the characters were great, and I'm really excited to read the second one, season 2. This is season 1, and season 2 they're working on right now. It's being published on serialbox.com, and like I said, I'm going to do a full review of this one and talk about it much more in depth very, very shortly. So if you want to learn more about it, definitely check that review out. Another one that I also finished and will be doing a full review on, this one is released tomorrow, and I'm going to be working tonight to try and get a review of this out sometime tomorrow, and it is 6 Weeks by Mur Lafferty. I just finished this today, and this is one of the authors that also wrote Book Burners, which is cool, and I do like her writing style quite a bit. She was one of my favorites in Book Burners. Her and Max Gladstone, I think, were my favorites, and I really enjoyed her writing in this. I do think she has a really nice, like, sensibly humorous style, and like her characters, I enjoyed the way she developed her characters and the way she gave us information on her characters. This one is basically about this group of clones wakes up on the ship. They all wake up in their cloning vats, and their previous iterations have all been murdered. So in this world, this is our kind of distant future, several centuries from now, in which cloning is just a normal thing now. Some people are still against it, obviously. There's this huge the first thing that you start out with in the book is this list of basically like laws that kind of govern how cloning is done and what is allowed in cloning. Basically, only one iteration of a person is allowed to exist. Once another clone is made of that person, the previous clone no longer has rights to that identity and must be recycled and disposed of. And usually it's the case where the person dies, they have a mind map. So people are mind mapped, and that's just a normal technology in this time, where these sort of very large files are created from their minds and then implanted into the clones that wake up usually in like their 20s or so, to kind of be at their peak physical health and whatnot. So a new clone will wake up when the previous one died. So whenever a clone dies, another clone wakes up, gets the mind map, and just kind of continues on as that person. So in this one, they're all set off on this generation ship filled with thousands of humans. They are a crew of 6 clones working together to reach Artemis, a planet that orbits Tau Ceti. And so they all wake up, they're all clones, they all wake up, and their previous iterations have been murdered. And they don't know why it's happened, they don't know how it happened, in what order it happened. They're all missing the last 25 years that they've spent on the ship. The last memories that they all have are right when they got on the ship, right then when they first made their first mind maps on the ship. Everything that came after the 25 years on the ship they spent is all lost. They have no idea what led up to this murder, what led up to everyone dying and being killed, all except one. The captain had been attacked a few days before. She was in a coma before the murders happened. And one of them hanged themselves, and it's like this huge mess of things they have to solve. And they all kind of learn about each other as the book goes on, learn the mysterious things that are in each other's past, the secrets they all hold, and things just kind of come to light throughout the book. And it's a really interesting murder mystery involving clones in space. And I really enjoyed it quite a bit. And I'm definitely going to have a fun time talking about this one in a review. Hopefully that'll go up tomorrow when the book is released. I highly suggest you check that out if you like murder mysteries and sci-fi. It is quite a bit of fun. And then I also, picking up in between those things, Dead House Gates. I'm not very far through this yet still, but I really am hoping to finish this week. I would love if I could finish this week because it's starting to get into February, and I really wanted to read the third book, Memories of Ice, in February also. So I'm going to try very hard to read the rest of this week. So this is going to be my main focus, I think, along with also trying to get through this book, Crossroads of Canopy by Thoraya Dyer. This one is the beginning of a new series involving a city called Canopy, and it has all these gods and goddesses that are constantly apparently being reincarnated into human bodies, and the city of Canopy is kind of envied by these two other realms called Understory and Floor. And it sounds really interesting. I'm going to read this one. This one actually comes out tomorrow also. So I kind of put 6 weeks ahead of this one because I got that one first. But I'm going to be trying to finish this one this week and do a review of it because I also have a giveaway to do of this one as well. I'm not saying I'm doing that right now. It's going to be at the review. So look out for the review for this one if you want to enter the giveaway for this one. I'm very highly anticipating this one. I've heard great things about it so far. And so many people seem to be really excited about this one. And I'm excited to read it and post a review of it. So Dead House Gates and this are my two top priorities this week, and I think I can finish them because I do have a couple days off this week from work, which would be nice. I do have a big day planned for a couple of the days that I have off, but yeah. And then for audiobooks, so I finished Book Burners in 6 weeks. Those were the 2 physical books I finished, and the 2 audiobooks I finished were Eye of the World. So Eye of the World, I did enjoy this. This is the first Wheel of Time book, if you didn't know, by Robert Jordan. I started trying to read this a little bit ago and could not get into it and kind of DNF'd it about halfway through. And so I re-listened to all of the beginning, and I don't remember a lot of stuff that happened. So I'm really glad I re-listened to all of it. And I actually got into it a lot more than I remember getting into it before. Basically, these young boys end up, they're not safe anymore in their hometown, in the small town that they grew up in. And they are kind of rescued, taken sort of by a person of this group called the Aes Sedai, and they are this magical group that everyone kind of spreads rumors about. They're not really seen as good. They're usually perceived to be a bad group of people, but one of them kind of comes into these boys' lives and seemingly rescues them, but it's kind of up in the air what her actual motives are, because everybody says so many bad things about this group and about who this person is. You never quite know if she is like that, if she's good and she's on their side. But whatever the case, she does take them away from their town because they're in danger, and they kind of go on this adventurous journey. They eventually end up getting split up, and we follow these different threads of them in kind of experiencing this world in different ways. And I did quite enjoy it, actually. I really like the characters this time around. I feel like that's definitely the book's strongest point, is the characters. So far, it's kind of been difficult getting into Robert Jordan's writing. I feel like his plot and the story is not necessarily slow, but his writing is kind of a slog to get through, and I'm not entirely sure why it is. And I listened to this on audiobook, and I'm not the hugest fan of the audiobook narrators, which I feel like a lot of people really do like these audiobook narrators, and maybe they'll grow on me as I listen to them more and more. It's read by Michael Kramer and Kate Redding, I think. And yeah, I enjoyed it well enough, and I am looking forward to the second one. And I also finished the first book in the Aftermath trilogy by Chuck Wendig. This is a Star Wars book, and I feel like I read another Star Wars book last week, Bloodline by Claudia Gray, and I liked that one more than this one. This one had a lot of different characters, a lot of different viewpoints. It followed several different viewpoints and several different characters that all kind of came together at a certain point. and I liked that about it. I liked seeing all the different characters and all their threads coming together, seeing how that unfolded, but the plot was kind of jumbled. It didn't really necessarily seem like, I couldn't really understand what it was trying to be. I feel like it was just all over the place with what it was trying to do, but I feel like that could be solved a little bit more in the next 2 books. I might talk about this trilogy more as a whole when I finish it, because I'm going to listen to the second one and the third one. The third one is not out yet, but I'm going to try to listen to the second one and read the third one as well. And I'll let you know what I think of the whole trilogy as a whole when I'm done with it, because I feel like it's a good setup for a Star Wars story, but it felt kind of messy throughout most of it. And it was cool following different characters that I had never experienced before, like Leia is the main character of the other Star Wars books that I read, and that was really great. I really loved following her, but it was really cool to follow new characters and see how they existed in this universe, in the Star Wars universe. And it was cool to see their different lives, and you get these little like interludes of other people, these like random people living their everyday lives on different planets and stuff. And sometimes it was these different things, these different happenings in the galaxy on these different planets that were just interesting little looks into people's lives throughout the galaxy. And it was good. I enjoyed his writing well enough, and the narrator was a little bit over the top, and I feel like the writing lended itself to the plot being very messy, to the story coming across as very messy. But overall, it was fun, and I'm going to finish the trilogy. This week, last week actually, I mentioned that I would love to also get to Into the Storm by Taylor Anderson. This is book 1 in the Destroyer Men series. This is a series about a destroyer ship that gets transported back to an alternate history and just kind of has to survive there. And it seems kind of a little bit strange and out there, but I got it for free. I got the whole series for free, so I'm going to listen to it and give it a shot and see what I think. And so I'm going to listen to that tomorrow. I might be able to finish the whole thing tomorrow, in which case that'll mean 17 books in January, which would be good. And then after that, I have The Bear and the Nightingale checked out by Catherine Arden. I think that's what her name is. This one just came out this past month, and I've heard good things about it. I don't know that much about it, actually, and I kind of want to go in not knowing too much about it, so I'm going to finish that. That's a pretty short one, so I should be able to finish that pretty easily. And then I would also really love to get to at least start I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. I've read some other Dan Wells stuff recently. Extreme Makeover, I just did a full review on. That was his most recent release, and I also read the whole Partials trilogy earlier this month, and really enjoyed that. So I'm going to give his first series, his first book ever, a shot, and see what I think of the series, because I think he just started like a second trilogy in the series. He made this first trilogy, and now there's going to be a second trilogy. So anyway, this video is going longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to end it here. If you guys have any comments on anything that I showed you today, I would love to hear your comments. If you've read anything that I've talked about, I would love to hear what you thought about it. Let me know what you think of that Star Wars book, about Wheel of Time, about if you've read anything by Mur Lafferty, or if you're excited for any of the new upcoming things, any of the upcoming reviews. I would love to hear about that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later with more.